Hello, everyone. Please take a seat if you'd like one. I want to welcome you in the name of Trap Rock Center for Peace and Justice and the Interfaith Council of Franklin County. I'm Cher Sweet, and I'm on the board of Trap Rock. This is the 23rd Peacemakers Award night. Now, since it feels like when we're here together, there's this shared sense of purpose and meaning, I thought it would be great to ask you to look either left and right or in front of you or behind you and find someone you don't know and wish them peace. Would you do that right now? Great. Thank you so much. I hope tonight won't be a blip on your life, but rather part of a lifelong trajectory for peace and social justice. And tonight we have Rob Oken here to speak to us. And he is a man who has written a lot of very important words about social justice and peace. So I'd like to read a little bit about what he has accomplished. Rob is the editor of Voicemail magazine, which is described as a magazine for changing men, and a former executive director of the Men's Resource Center. His anthology, Voicemail, The Untold Story of the pro-feminist men's movement, tells the story of anti-sexist men working to transform masculinity. A syndicated columnist at Peace Voice, his commentaries on culture and social change have appeared in newspapers across the country, including the Dallas Morning News, San Diego Union Tribune, Houston Chronicle, The Telegraph in London, and Ms. Magazine, among others. Formerly an editor of New Roots, an alternative energy anti-nuke magazine based in Greenfield, he also worked at the Peace Development Fund in Amherst. But he says his most treasured identity is as a father of 4 and grandfather of 5. So from hearing this little bit about Rob, you know that his life has been dedicated to social justice, and he is a wonderful person to welcome tonight. Rob?
Thank you, Cher. Hi, everybody. How are we doing? Okay, thumbs up, that's good. I just want to make my welcome to all of the Peacemaker Award recipients, to their families, and to the rest of us in this beloved community. And before I start, I want to acknowledge both Trap Rock and the Interfaith Council for making this event happen, and making it happen, as Cher said, for 23 years. It's kind of amazing. So Cher referenced that I have grandchildren, and there's 5 of them from 1 up to 10. And because of you, I feel hope. And because of you, I hope that they will follow in the footsteps that you peacemakers are setting forth on your own path. And I'm really impressed with the issues that you're working on, from preventing the climate emergency. And I saw Ollie speak in Northampton at the Chase Bank climate protest back at the end of March. And that was very inspiring. I can remember we were talking about it there was some of our family who was there. and all the work that you're doing, from speaking up on behalf of transgender and non-binary folks, to working and showing kindness to children without homes on their birthdays, and training students as active bystanders. You're covering a lot of ground, so thank you for that. Thank you for leaning in, for putting your strong shoulders to the wheel of social change to move it forward. And I'm pretty certain from getting to know a little bit about what you've done that you would be doing this work whether or not you were being recognized tonight. But we're glad that we're recognizing you. So you're inspiring us, and we're hoping that you're going to feel inspired to redouble your efforts, because we need you. We need peacemakers now more than ever. Injustice is everywhere: banning books, curtailing reproductive rights, preventing transgender people from seeking health care, trying to erase our country's history of racism from our textbooks, fanning the flames of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and demonizing immigrants. And then there's war. The ones that we hear about, where the combatants are primarily white, and the ones that we don't know so much about because the combatants are primarily people of color. So there's so many issues, and we need so many shoulders to push forward that wheel of social change. And what we really need is your shoulders, all of them. And I think that you are demonstrating by all that you've done that you'll be the ones who'll be on the outside protesting in the streets, and on the inside in the voting booth casting your ballot. You'll be the ones who will be speaking out against white supremacy and speaking up for the marginalized and the disenfranchised. You're the ones now advancing gender equality and the ones who are challenging bullying and abuse. You're the ones who will be standing up for our democracy and pushing back against authoritarianism. That's a lot there is to do, and I'm inspired by you and your generation. Just consider a few people who are inspiring to me and probably most of us here, like Greta Thunberg, who at 15 single-handedly ignited a global climate emergency movement of youth. Or David Hogue, who after the mass shootings in Parkland, Florida, helped launch the March for Our Lives. I'm inspired by Tennessee's Justin Smith and Justin Pearson, who have become the most eloquent spokespeople for gun control, a movement that's growing, and I think that in my heart of hearts, I think that this time we're going to be in the streets and we're going to shut down things until we actually get some laws passed that make sense. It's an abomination what's happening in our country. I'm also inspired by Amanda Gorman. Do you remember her, the poet who read at Joe Biden's inauguration? Amazing. And I want to tell you about someone who inspires me, who's just down the road in Amherst, a young man named Talvin Dingra, a junior at Amherst High, the editor of the newspaper, The Graphic. It was The Graphic, the student newspaper, not any major media outlet or local outlet, that just last week exposed transgender bullying at the town's middle school. So I feel the inspiration of all of you. I feel your determination, your commitment, your focus, and I know that you have an unwavering belief that a better world is possible. And probably most people here know that the award, this whole event, this whole experience grew out of a tragedy, the Columbine shootings in 1999 in Littleton, Colorado. And it was out of the darkness of that event that Trap Rock and the Interfaith Council saw enough slivers of light that this event got to come into fruition. Like a lot of older people who are here tonight, I have an activist background, going back to the Vietnam War, anti-war movement of the 60s, the anti-nuke power movement in the 70s, the anti-nuclear war movement in the 80s, and since the 90s, the anti-sexist, pro-feminist men's movement. So a lot of us here have been putting our shoulders to the wheel of change for a long time, but it's really you and those like you around Franklin County, all of Western Mass, the state, the country, around the globe. You're the ones who are moving the wheel of social change forward now. Probably more than a few of us will recognize these lines from a song. Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, don't criticize what you don't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend a hand, for the times they are a-changing. Bob Dylan was 22 when he wrote those words. And you are the ones, peacemakers, who are on that new road. You are the ones who know deep down in your hearts and souls, in your guts, that the times they are a-changing. And the rest of us here tonight, we do want to lend a hand. We're inspired to walk that new road with you. The activist and writer Angela Davis once said, "I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept." And when I thought about that sentiment last week, it occurred to me that it might make a good motto for the 2023 Peacemakers. And then before I finished that thought, another popped into my head. It was on a sign I saw at a climate demonstration, and it read, "Like the sea level, we rise. Like the sea level, you rise. So thank you for rising."
Thank you, We're so happy to be here tonight at Stoneleigh Burnham, and besides the beautiful artwork around us, we have an opportunity to hear a musical presentation from the Stoneleigh Bee Octet. Is that right? Come on up.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Rubin. I'm the choir director and vocal music teacher here at Stoneleigh Burnham, and this is our upper school a cappella group called Octet. We're going to sing 2 songs for you today that are surrounding the themes of tonight of social justice and community. The first is called Laura Hal Soti. It's in Arabic, and the text is when my voice departs, yours remains, which is surrounding the themes of your voice making an impact in your community and living on through your community. And the second song we are singing is called Sing About It, and it's encouraging the community to stand up for each other even when injustices don't directly impact you. We hope you enjoy. Thanks.
Bukra al bima
That added so much to the feel this evening. That was fantastic. I felt surrounded by it. It was just really wonderful. My name is Rabbi Andrea Kiner, and I'll be presenting the presenters to get to the actual honoring part of our young people this evening. And I'm going to get right to it. Our first presenter, and you can follow this in your program. We're not going to repeat the things that are said in there, but we have invited the presenters and asked them to speak, and you'll also hear from the awardees this evening. And I'm going to ask at this time for Ella Ingraham from the Green team at the Episcopal Church of Saints James and Andrew to be the first presenter.
Thank you. The Green team at St. James and Andrew is pleased to nominate Ollie and Perrault and Sasha Krakauer for the 2023 Peacemakers Award. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Great. In March 2023, Ollie and Sasha were part of the group of young activists who came to the church to share their perspectives on the climate crisis and the efforts that they're making to make positive change. So I'm going to introduce first Ollie and then Sasha, and they have their statements. Ollie Perrault is 16 years old. In 2021, she organized the Youth Climate Action Now of Western Massachusetts, and she has seen in her own life, as a daughter of farmers, the impact of climate change on farming here in Western Massachusetts. And so now I'd like Ollie to come up.
Hi, everybody. Is this a good distance from the mic? Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Okay. So my name is Ollie. I use she, her pronouns. I am 16 years old, and I'm the director and founder of Youth Climate Action Now. I want to first off start by thanking the Interfaith Council and the Trap Rock Center for Peace and Justice for organizing this initiative and putting this together, this wonderful event to highlight youth voices in our community. Being here today and getting the chance to hear about all the wonderful work being done throughout our communities to advocate for a better future is incredibly inspiring to me, and I am so grateful to have the chance to meet all of you and speak today. So yeah, thank you for gathering us here today. Let's give them a round of applause. So Youth Climate Action Now is the organization that Sasha and I are both a part of. We are a Western Mass-based, youth-led, action-oriented organization that works to empower students to add their voices to the climate conversation in a wide variety of ways. We believe that in order to solve the climate crisis, we must make our communities more sustainable. And when most people think of the word sustainability, they think of small-scale individual action. Things like reduce, reuse, recycle, things like carpooling, going vegan, eating local. And to those of us who have been experiencing the extremes of climate change for decades now, it feels like the current solutions that are being presented to us do not meet the scale of the crisis we are experiencing. While these small-scale individual changes are important, they are not good enough for us if they are not backed by real systemic change. The current answer that is being presented to us, the current definition of sustainability, was coined by the fossil fuel industry to trick us into thinking that climate change was a result of individual impacts, when really it is a product of the system we are living in. Young people today are looking for something so much bigger than reduce, reuse, recycle. We are looking to redefine the word sustainability and shift its meaning to focus on big picture community resiliency. One of our top priorities in Youth Climate Action Now is to continue finding ways to inspire hope in both young people and adults. In today's globalized world, it is incredibly difficult to remain hopeful. The most recent IPCC report declared that if we do not divest from the fossil fuel industry, the Earth will hit a critical warming threshold that we cannot come back from by the year 2030. And this report came just 1 week after our president went ahead and broke his campaign promise, betrayed millions of young people by signing off on and approving the Willow Project, the single largest oil extraction project ever to be proposed on federal land. Everywhere we look, we are seeing our futures being put at risk for the sake of corporate profit. I have been doing this work for about 5 years now, and the biggest question that my colleagues and I are asked on a daily basis is, how do you stay hopeful in the face of challenges as big as these? And my answer is always the same whenever I am asked this question. Young people inspire me the most. So I first got involved in the climate conversation when I was about 11 years old. And so as a new leader and as a very young leader, I saw that instead of shrinking down into our feelings of fear or immobility, young people in my community were stepping up and leading the way. There's one particular partnership that we are working on right now that I want to highlight tonight because it makes me incredibly hopeful. Over the last few months, YCAN has had the incredible privilege to work with the climate chief of Massachusetts, Melissa Hoffer, to develop a model of engagement to get more young people involved in the climate office. Chief Hoffer is the first ever climate chief of Massachusetts. On day 1 of her administration, our governor, Maura Healey, signed an executive order establishing the position of climate chief and creating an office of climate innovation and resiliency. And Massachusetts is the first state in the nation to create such a position at the cabinet level. So this is very exciting developments. And the job of this office is to advise the Healey administration on everything climate related. And one of the top priorities right now, as they figure out how they're going to do this, is to partner with Youth Climate Action Now. So we're working with the Climate Office to provide a platform to center the priorities of youth leaders within climate policy, to advocate for interdisciplinary climate justice education, to fight for a natural gas moratorium to be passed throughout Massachusetts, to educate young people on our state's decarbonization goals, to prioritize environmental justice, to cultivate resiliency, and continue working towards our goal of systemic sustainability. So not only has our generation grown up in the time of the climate crisis, but we have also grown up in a time of monumental social change and direct action that we have been an essential part of starting. On a global level, young people have collectively decided that we are no longer willing to stand for our leaders' inadequate response to this crisis, and we are no longer willing to stand for band-aid solutions, and we're joining together to demand real change now. And I don't know about you all, but for me, being here today, showing up with my friends and my colleagues and my family, celebrating the incredible work that we are doing together to advocate for social justice in our communities, and celebrating the inspiring work that we still have to go, this makes me so incredibly hopeful. So thank you again to the Peacemaker Awards for bringing all of these creative minds together into one room and for giving us yet another reason to be hopeful for our future. Please feel free to come talk to either Sasha or I throughout the remainder of this event about our work in YCAN, our evolving partnership with Climate Chief Melissa Hoffer, as well as how you can get involved as a youth leader. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to pass it back to Ella.
Okay, the second.
Hi. Wait, you get a flower. You get a flower.
Our second nominee is Sasha Krakauer. Sasha is graduating this weekend from Northfield Mount Hermon. In addition to her involvement at YCAN, she's also been involved at Northfield Mount Hermon and as an eco-leader. Come on up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I just want to express my gratitude. This was a very unexpected honor. I didn't even know I was nominated, so thank you so much. And I think Ollie really articulated YCAN's mission perfectly. So I wanted to focus a bit on my own story and how I became inspired to fight in this movement. So I went to a small progressive elementary school called the Common School in Amherst, Massachusetts, and we were always integrated in nature. It was through experiential learning, through being at the farm, through playing in the stream, being on the playground, that I became really inspired, and I learned that nature was almost a part of us, that nature was our friend. So even as cheesy as that may sound. So it inspired me to learn more about our planet and the climate, and it also inspired me to learn about the crisis that is occurring, and of course you all know about. And I remember my mom telling me about climate change when I was very young. I think I might have been around 8, 7 years old, and I was worried. I felt a lot of fear about this impending doom that may occur. And by the time that I was 9 years old, I decided to write an article in the Belchertown Sentinel, because I was living in Belchertown at that time. And it was all about a call to action. I thought that it was really important to unite my community in any way that I could, even as small as a small newspaper article at that time. So that was my first climate action that I ever did. And then in 2019, I think I was in 8th or 9th grade at the time, I went to the Western Mass Youth Climate Summit, and I saw Ollie. And Ollie was around 12 or 13, and she gave this amazing speech in front of so many different people. And it inspired me, because here was a person who was younger than me, fighting for something that she was incredibly passionate about, and I wanted to be like that. And I had this profoundly visceral reaction, and I felt so inspired to act. And this summit allowed me a space to dream about a better future, to dream about what I could become, what I could do. So I decided eventually to join Ollie and become part of the planning team for the Western Mass Youth Climate Summits, and also eventually join her with YCAN. And with the Youth Climate Action Now and Youth Climate Leadership Program, it really gives me this platform to express my deep feelings and dreams about a better future. And I know Ollie talked about this before, but our generation is often referred to as the catastrophic generation. We have grown up in a world of catastrophes, and we need a platform like this to be angry, to use our voices, and that's why it's so important for me to be part of these groups. And through my work, I have learned that I am not alone, and I have learned that a better future is not only possible, but it has to be possible, because we created this problem and we can fix it. And I also learned that we need the space to dream and to envision our future. And lately, throughout my work, I've focused a lot on climate education and integration into curriculum. At NMH, I helped create Climate Action Week, and during Climate Action Week, we had a full day of climate action workshops, which was, it took a lot of planning on the administrative level, but we were able to do it, and Ollie was a speaker there, and I'm so glad that that came into fruition. And through that work, I really learned that education is the root of change. And in the future, I'm going to Smith College next year, and I want to go beyond just education, because that's the root. I am planning on majoring in environmental engineering, and specifically with a focus on renewable energy, because I want to be part of the development of our world, to be more renewable, to be more sustainable. And I hope also that us as youth can inspire each and every one of you to get involved, just as we are. So again, thank you so, so much for this honor.
Is Asher House Jensen here? Oh, yay. Hi, come on. Our next awardee is Asher House Jensen, and your presenter lives out of town. The person that nominated you does not live nearby, and asked me to speak a few words to you, Asher. And I had a chance to familiarize myself with your work, and I want to say a few words about it. Your work has included education, writing, and counseling, and the best kind of counseling and writing and mentoring that you've offered comes from the lessons that we learn in our own life from our own journey. And I think that you were nominated because you have let the light of your understanding develop and grow and shared it with others in the work that you've done around gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. So congratulations, and stick around afterwards. We have some things that we want to give you, but go ahead and address us if you'd like to take a few moments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Asher House Jensen. I am a senior, and when I think about that, that is absolutely crazy because I remember when I was little and I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters. The person who nominated me is Galen. She runs Big Brothers Big Sisters for our county. And when I think about when I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters, I think about how... Oh, sorry. Is this good? Perfect, thank you. When I think about when I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters, I think about how different everything was. I remember my own big was queer, so as I was, but I hadn't realized at the time. And she had to hide it because that's how different everything was, and the fact that now she doesn't have to hide it. I don't know if she's still with her partner, as this was in South Carolina, but when I think about the fact that I, as a queer person, can have a girlfriend and I don't have to hide it, it makes me so excited and it gives me so much hope. And being able to be non-binary and people use they, them pronouns without questioning it, it's all just so exciting. And I know that the people in this room have helped lead to that change. And I have fought hard for the change at my own school because my old school was not very accepting. I had to leave my old school because of the people there and how they were, and that has led me to want to fight harder for the people at my school and for the young people at my school so that they feel like they have a place where they can go to school and be safe. And I am just so incredibly happy on how far it has come since I was in 7th grade and now as a senior. And I hope that the world can continue to change from here, and I thank you for nominating me.
We have the sweetest program coming up that is going to be recognized. Tabitha Collins is the adult representing the nominators, and you'll hear a little bit about the project. The thing I love about this project is that it has so much emphasis on one-to-one, on relationship building, which is, if you think about it, it's a source of a lot of our activism, healing, hope, and effectiveness. So I'm just very touched by the conception and the execution of this next project. So I'm going to invite Tabitha to come up and speak for a moment about the group.
Hello. I want to tell you a little bit about Operation Happy Birthday. Operation Happy Birthday is a club that was founded by an NMH alum named Will Perez in 2004. As a child, Will Perez spent time in a homeless shelter living with 5 of his other siblings. He struggled with not being able to celebrate those birthdays of his younger siblings, let alone having a celebration of his own. While at NMH, he decided to develop the club, Operation Happy Birthday, to host parties and bring presents to children in local family-based homeless shelters to help them feel cared for and loved. Our mission is simple: to reach out to the community and help celebrate birthdays and spread happiness. I have been an advisor for Operation Happy Birthday since 2020. In the first years, we were restricted by COVID. Not to be deterred, the group of students created the idea of Birthday in a Box, where we gathered all the makings of a good birthday party and presents, put them in a box to be delivered to families at the Greenfield area through big brothers and big sisters. Although we couldn't be a part of the celebration, the kind words that came back let us know that our mission was still alive and well. This year was our first year back to normal, and we were thrilled to be able to interact with children in our community. Sumira Sumi is our fearless leader and has done a fabulous job in connecting with the Greenfield Family Inn and their wonderful staff to organize several birthday parties this year. Her leadership and passion has been invaluable to the group, and the mission of Operation Happy Birthday will help our program grow. I couldn't be more proud of this group of young people. They took the time out of their busy lives to bring happiness to children who they didn't even know. Again, the mission is alive and well. Without further ado, let me introduce Sumira Sumi, who will introduce the rest of the NMH students of Operation Happy Birthday.
Hi, my name is Sumira Sumi. I am 18 years old at Northfield Mount Hermon School. I would like to share my story, which inspired me to lead this group in an NMH. So the person who inspired me to get involved in this community service was my grandfather. He was such an amazing person who devoted his life for community service and helping other people. My grandfather always told me the story when he visited Cambodia. He saw local families who barely had access to living supplies and basic needs. They didn't even have education or health services. And then he saw poverty, he saw inequality and tragedy of all those families. But what struck me the most was one picture he showed me of the children who were just smiling brightly and playing around the field. It just melted my heart and gave me hope that even those children who must have been suffering through the systematic inequality and tragedy of all the injustice of the world, they were still smiling, and I believe that those smiles can actually help the world and make peace among us. So my grandfather, as a way to show appreciation to the kids who gave him hope, built a school for all the young children in the local town, and I thought it was such an incredible way to show and say thank you to those children. And he also said to me that it was to protect their smile. This experience influenced me to carry on Operation Happy Birthday Club in NMH school. Birthdays are magical for kids, and every child deserves to experience the excitement of opening gifts and blowing the candles. In NMH, many students are passionate about helping others, and these amazing members influenced me and helped me so much through this hard time coming from the pandemic. Their love for kids and community service simply made this club such a great contributor to making peace in our local community. Step by step, we have made positive effects in local schools and people. Thank you again for this such an amazing nomination and award.
Up here, and we'll leave yours at the very end.
Okay. I will call out my members. Kiara Pinchi, please come up. Eugene Kim. Alex Te. Kensho Takemoto. Ali Seanmore, Maggie Provencal, and lastly, David Solano.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Look at that beautiful group. The next group of students and activism that we'll be recognizing tonight is the ACT student group, ACT. I think they are repeat awardees, is that correct? Which means their program is moving through the generations of their school, and that's wonderful. The ACT group has empowered themselves to address and become active bystanders in cases of threat and bullying and instances of racism, homophobia, and other untoward social interactions. And the empowerment, the training, and the activism, again, one-to-one, takes such courage and skill, and we're very pleased to honor them tonight. I'm going to invite Lex Singh to the group because their nominators, Rachel Dowd and Kat Friedman, could not be here, and Lex will be speaking for the group and helping me distribute awards.
Is this a good distance from the mic? Yes. Okay, as was said, I'm the adult in ACT in here. So we are the ACT group. We're active community trainers, and our goal at Pioneer is to help our middle school students with conflict resolution and emotional maturity. Throughout a bit of the summer and our early school year, we spent a lot of time building a curriculum that we taught over the course of about a week of teaching the middle schoolers how to do conflict resolution and hopefully eliminate all the bullying and hatefulness people have experienced past in middle school. And I'd like to invite up Jana Leisure to speak a bit.
Is this a good distance from the mic, guys? Okay. Okay. So I'm Jana. I'm in 10th grade at Pioneer, and one of the main reasons that I decided to join ACT was because I had to deal with a lot of hate from students throughout elementary school and into my middle school years, and we worked a lot during the summer to actually build our own curriculum, like Lex said, and we had done a lot of work towards that, and we then had to break up into groups with other members who couldn't be here today, unfortunately, but it was a lot of teamwork and a lot of fun to do with a great number of people. So I would like to invite Snow up to speak if they would like.
Hello, my name's Snow, or Rain, whatever you prefer to call me. I use they, them pronouns. I joined this group because in 5th grade I was severely bullied by other classmates, and I want to help make a change to how others treat each other, even if it's just a small group that we have formed together, and we've spent the summers planning out and taking inspiration from other activist groups to create this program. And I'm very happy to be here.
So much for your wonderful work. We're really happy to hear about it. I think I did that right this time. Thank you. Trap Rock and the Interfaith Council are so delighted to be the wind beneath the wings of this group of young people, and we're grateful to the adults in your community that recognized your work and brought it to our attention. And we're grateful to the elders in this community who also recognize your work, because us white-haired ones know that it's time to pass the ball on again, person to person, and you're the wing beneath our wings as we see you carry on your work. At this point in the program, we would like to recognize an elder who is actually a core inspiration for the ceremony that we're sharing this evening. And I'd like to bring up to the lectern Reverend Sue Bowman to make a presentation.
Is good? My name is Sue Bowman. I'm a member of the Interfaith Council. When something upsetting happens, many possible reactions may occur. There are often questions such as, why? How could it? Or what could we have done to prevent it? Such questions can help discover causes and lead to changes in conditions or structures. Or it could move beyond those questions to, what can I do? What can we do? In order to raise the chances of a different outcome. It can move into a hopeful mindset, and it also empowers as it brings the questioner into the process. 23 years ago this spring, notices appeared around Franklin County that there would be a Peacemakers Award event involving teenagers. When the first one was held, a group of high school students were recognized for various steps they had taken to deal peacefully with conflict and to effect positive changes in their groups. Now that happened because someone asked the kind of questions that led to a step that eventually brought us here this evening. The still newly formed Interfaith Council of Franklin County was talking about some violent youth events that had happened in a couple of places in our county. I'm sure they talked about the why and the who and the how and the what, but one person notched up the discussion by asking, well, what can we, the Interfaith Council of Franklin County, what can we do that could lead away from the terrible to the possible? Or what could we do to recognize and honor young people for positive efforts in potentially harmful situations? That questioner is with us this evening. He asked the kind of question that put the Interfaith Council and then join with Trap Rock Center into the quest for better outcomes for youth. Father Stan Aksalmet, would you please stand up and be recognized? You're the one who started it. We have you to thank. I hope that you will meet and greet Father Stan. He has a lot of wonderful stories after the program while we're eating cookies together. Peacemakers, you are here because you saw needs, you identified injustices, witnessed conflict, and asked, is there something I could do to change this wrong? You observed, you asked questions, you talked with others, and you found a way to enter into the process of making a difference. No one person can address all the wrongs, but when we find our passion and the world's needs meeting, that's where we go. Families and friends, parents, you are here. You are here because you model this kind of questioning and acting for these young people. Thanks to all who embody the word hope. And if you would like to be involved in helping to make future Peacemaker Awards happen, please let one of us know. These people, that person, lots of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And we're going to have some closing words and probably a benediction. Is that correct? We'll bring on a little, bring down. Okay. From Interfaith Minister. And I think you're currently our convener for the Interfaith Council. So Reverend Leslie Fraser, please come on up.
I'm Leslie Fraser. I use she, her pronouns. And I first, after having said that, I want to thank the young people here today who taught me to make that just part of my usual introduction. Because now it is usual. And I say that because so much of change comes from stepping into new territory and then letting it be more familiar, but keeping your curiosity up about it, but then saying, oh, I'm part of this too, and just putting yourself there. So instead of offering something like a benediction, I'm going to do something crazy, which is, so I'm also a writing teacher, and I'm just going to tell you a little background about that, is when I do that, we do something that I just call folded poems, where we pass around a piece of paper and people just write. They write something, they hand it to the next person, the person only gets to see what the person before them wrote, and then you unscroll it, and it's usually wild and wonderful or crazy. You've written it all together, but it actually ends up being something collective. And that's what we've done tonight. We've done something collective, we met each other, and I hope over cookies we'll actually talk to each other. I am going to invite you, before you leave, charge you with talking to at least one person from one school or group or, wonderful green team or, someplace you don't know, and just say hi and just know that you've made that connection. You don't have to go super deep, but just to do that. And then here's our folded poem. I'm going to ask us all just to popcorn
the kernel, the cone of what you're taking away from here, and just shout it out. And that's going to be our folded poem, our closing. So 1, 2, 3, go for it. I heard cookies. I love that. Okay, so love, power, cookies, relationships. Let's do it all. And let's know that we are always, and I mean always, connected to each other. As one of my favorite teachers, so these will be my closing words. And you older folks probably know her, and you younger folks study everything you can about her. Juanita Nelson. I can't even tell all the stories about Juanita, but Woolman Hill lived those incredibly social justice, living sustainably and responsibly and doing everything the hell she could to put her life into action. So these were her words. Your life is your action. That's what she told us. Your life is your action. So go do it. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you.
There really are cookies. And I wanted to invite you to mill about, do your interpersonal bonding there, as Leslie invited us to. And Rob Oken has been kind enough to leave copies of some of his missives, his writing from voicemail. So please feel free to enjoy those as well. And congratulations to all the families.